Well, good afternoon to the Guernsey Bowl Stadium, and today we've got the final of the open pairs. So it's between we've got Martin de Carteret and Gary Pitchu, and on the other side Rose Oja and Jason Greenslade. Cracking shot there by Jason to get the shot back. Made two there. The two reddish or maroon, whatever colour you describe it as. That's that's Rose and Jason, and just seen Gary come up there. Trusty bowls to move the jack. Very always very accurate between him and Jason. Good effort by Jason. Always a lot of potential, just arriving rather than a dead draw. It's out the waterway, might have made two. So that's first blood to Martin and Gary, 1-0.
Guernsey just after 3:30, then the Islanders in from Portsmouth just after 4. However, for tomorrow, sailings, fast boat sailings tomorrow have been cancelled due to the forecasted winds, so no fast boat sailings. Subject at the moment are predicting to operate a schedule tomorrow, but I would imagine they will give us another update on that later on today. And as always, feel free to get in touch with us if you see anything.
Second. Yes, please. Yeah.
So just feeling their way into this game, early days. Got a couple of under 25 matches on the far rinks. You may catch them just on the sides.
Back on now.
Excellent from Gary. Very steady, has been for many years. Well, just on the flop. Looks in a target area for Gary. Just drifted through. Even a foot less than that, even though it was possibly wouldn't have drawn it clean, it would have landed the shot. And he might make his own sit down as well, so he does have a couple of potential options.
Ball's falling.
Exactly as called. Sit the bowl, his own falls in, makes 2. Now this one, it is 21 ends, but it's 3-hour time limit, so depends how many times they visit. I'm not sure if they'll fit the 21 in. It's, sometimes some players are getting them in, or most players are getting them in, but certainly the slower players on the green, they're not quite getting that last end in. No killed ends, so that won't hold it up. It's side spots. Jason must have been listening to that. Fraction unlucky for the jack to go forward like that. I mean, he hit the target, but one was probably always going to be locked in. But not only was it locked in, but it moved the jack forward to the other one.
Here, put one about here because there's a 3 there.
The only thing is, if he takes that 2 out,
So it works the same way, yeah.
what do you reckon?
Yeah, put it more towards the spot.
So one each left. Martin showing Gary the spot. If he splits the shot on the jack, it's going out that side. If he gets a jack, it could go out the other, the other side. Jack clean and it bounced off the other wood. It could go out the other side, which is where Jason just put his foot, and he might take the 2 bowls out. So it's worth him playing the same. Don't think there's too much risk of being any worse off. And to draw it, he's got to draw within, well, a couple of inches for shot, or 6 inches for second. So after running, difficult to adjust back to that. Looks interested. Yep. Right on target again. Result, well, possibly could have been better to make 2, but also a good result for the jack to only move 18 inches to make 1 for himself. Jason going to revert to his trusty short length. Well, I think Martin's partner Mish is at home. Unfortunately, she can't make it down, so hopefully you've been able to tune in. So welcome, Mish. So Jason's favoured length, you'd fancy him to get in here, so Gary might be looking at 3 down, definitely 2 from the angle we've got. I think the short one's in. Not sure if that was a draw or a little dig at it from Gary there. Close to the jack, could have landed the shot. You'd probably fancy a draw at this stage. There's enough room to beat the strays, and if he sits just beside it, gives himself a bit more of a target. Well, he went for more of a dig. Still delicate weight. It's not a massive target, but it's big enough. Maybe not so confident about drawing on that really short one. I thought a draw would be sensible at this stage. That looks like 4. Has he taken the weight off? Yeah, he's tried to draw it now. Actually good weight, but pinch that line. Just drifted through from Gary. Punished a bit there, I think, from just those half digs at the start. I always say our surface here in Guernsey is really good. You basically can play any shot you want, but there's still quite a tough shot to play. So it's gone up as 5. Another steady start from Rose. Commentator's curse set. Well, Martin's weight would have been good enough, but just couldn't get either side of his own. Got rugby tackled. There you go. Because I didn't say anything about Rose's bowl, she thought she'd go back on it. Oof. Good try, Martin. I almost fancy he would have been better on the forehand. Backhand there was a gap. Forehand, as long as he got between those front two, which he did, he would have had the jack or the 2 bowls, and he might have got both bowls away. So Gary doesn't seem to have so many options this time, so I do fancy he'll be going more for it.
it's only the one. It is a measure actually between these two and my
That's,
back ones. Shot goal is this much behind.
I wasn't sure how best to describe it for the commentator, but I think that's a Gary shot. He's often in the area, but he gets results as well. Jason had tried to block him out, but I think it's far enough. It was far enough down. There was always options to play a different weight, a different hand. So I know the shot
Well,
can
mate,
be a
come
valid,
round here
the
and sit
blocker
on
can be a valid
commentator.
shot, but sometimes you just can't block people out.
You had a result.
It is on time, quarter to three, half time at Books Lane this afternoon. The Raiders desperately trying to turn things around again. I said at the start of the show, it's definitely a season of two halves. The opening 8 games, just one defeat. The last 9 games,
How's about red?
Much better wood by Gary. Little toucher, but obviously they're not going to mark it. So that'd be 2 to make it 3-6. Cracker from Rose. Did seem to stick on the seam a little bit. Just drifting through from Martin. I think Gary said be positive to it, so he was willing to take the risk. Well, Gary doesn't want to do like before and play a half shots. There is a few gaps. He's got to commit to whichever way he goes, whether it's a draw to get a good second or whether it's a more of a run. There you go, cuts out the strays. His is next to the shot, so if he does play his, he can stay for two. Instantly gives himself much better options and makes it difficult for Jason to get another one in. Well, unlucky there, Gary. He had that chance for his wood onto the shot. Wondered if he would play it the other hand, because that hand he had a little bit of the wood, but as we saw, it just clipped it more onto the jack. And if he got his front one fine, forehand he's got the jack and his wood, so it's a slightly bigger target for me on the forehand. I think he will do next time. And he can choose his weight as well, because he's got the three just behind. There's one out of screenshot, but right at the very back is one of Martin's. Well, that commits Gary to sticking on that backhand. Now it's a big choice though. Does he stay with more delicate weights, or does he play more to it, more delicate, a little bit harder? Well, that's a cracking wood from Gary. Jason's forced him to stay the same hand and played it really well. As I quite often say, I call these shots the way I see it, but this is why these people are out there and I'm in the commentary. It's always the right shot if it's the one you're confident of getting. That's a cracking effort. Can't tell who's got the spot up there. Well, that one's level with the spot and on the centre line, so that's got both of them. So obviously Gary didn't have them, so good cover from him. Still not without risk if Jason gets it, because I think he might be able to get Gary's 2 away, which will leave Jason with 3. So I think he might still well go for it. Oh, fraction wide, but good effort. So Mike and Gary have closed the gap. We're 1-6 now, 5-6. And a really good start from Martin there.
I see the ball.
That's what you need. Rock self-storage. Whether you're in between houses, doing building work, or simply need more space, Rock self-storage has the solution. With a range of large and small low-cost storage units in 3 convenient locations in St. Peter Port and St. Sampson's, all with 24-hour access. For friendly and helpful advice, call 730-704 or book online at rockselfstorage.co.uk.
How can I help you now, please? Could you just
Oh.
to where the jack is?
I'd be inside line. I'd keep the weight. Okay.
Well, Martin had 3 good ones. Nice little runner from Rose. Maybe 1, maybe 2 still, which certainly helped their cause.
You can draw that. Is it the shot or yours?
Yeah, the shot.
Couple of inches.
Yeah, I don't mind just, you know, widen it on a draw, look for seconds.
Jason was just asking for a draw. Seemed to be a reasonable amount of discussion for what looked like a straightforward shot. A little bit over the weight, but maybe they were just trying to work out which is best hand, whether it was forehand, backhand.
The Premier League, Manchester United produced a second half comeback to fall 2-all at Everton. Arsenal had the chance to move to within 5 points of Premier League leaders Liverpool with a win against West Ham. And Celtic have suffered just their second Scottish Premiership defeat of the season in losing 2-1 at Hibs. That's the latest. I'm Daisy Steele.
Celsius and 11 minimum of 7 degrees Celsius. For tomorrow, rather cloudy to start, with some hazy sunshine, becoming cloudy during the afternoon.
Yeah.
Good ball from Jason just to tighten the options down a bit. So Martin and Gary just creeping back with another shot. Tied the score 6-all after 6 ends. So Gary and Martin on their well, they'll want to play their short length, which Jason is and Rose are preferring. So it's not quite full length. That's up probably 2 meters, I would say, from here, and that jack a meter short, so a few meters short. Well, that's a good effort from Martin. May or may not have got a shot, but certainly if he had another wood, he'd be sitting on his own for shot there. He's played 3 decent bowls. Little head scratch from Martin. He seemed to have a really good look at it, so not sure which one he fancies. Doesn't really change Gary's shot. They'd both be confident of getting one inside that, so they'll both be drawing. Or they'll both be trying to draw, shall I say, if it doesn't change. Jason's certainly interested in it. Well, that sorts out any possible measure that was there. That's a cracking home from Jason. Certainly means Gary hasn't got the free option of just trying to lift his own bowl over one. That looks like he's running for the hills, for the backwards. Rose does have a couple behind. Well, Gary's wood did drop in a ditch, so Jason does have best backs. If he catches that short one, it's going to wedge his own in and take the shot away. So I don't know which is most valuable to Jason. Probably the back, which Gary's looking to cover. So last bowl coming up for Jason. I know Gary's covered, but I think there'll only be one down at the back with Gary's last bowl, so you fancy he'd go for the same again. Certainly taking his time. A little bit less weight, so he's just trying to lift his own in. Oh, that's really unlucky, that. That's made it 2. So 8-6, Martin and Gary. Have to be in 1-6 down after 3. Take the next 4 ends. So they've come back well. Jason and Rose have been in the target area generally. Well, tiniest feather certainly helped Martin there, but it was going to be shot anyway. So in our other games that are and have gone, Brad Lenori's won his under 25s, and we've got Emily Rich against Catherine Bonsall, and Emily took the first set. Catherine's 5-3 up on this one, 2 ends left, so all to play for there. So Gary will be happy with what Martin's left him with, holding 2, 1 ride on it, best back, good position, and he's just added as well. Oh, played it so square, nothing came back into the head. He missed the target, but sometimes you get a result off that. So Jason's just taken a couple of his own away, but he does have the spots as we're looking at it on the bottom right of the screen. Unless Gary's just not quite sure, can't tell. It might be a measure down there. Well, the rub brought him in when you thought he was going to sit on the back of Gary's. That was definitely still 4 down, and then he seemed to sort of wiggle past it somehow. Might still be a few. Another good bowl from Gary. From here I'd say it's in. It's 4 and maybe even a tape. He's arriving to it. Not quite as much weight. Try and let it bend a bit. Well, he managed to land the bowl clean, and looks like he's got second. Target area, also a kind result. If he got inside it, yes, he would have moved it as well. So it was target area. So that makes it 9-6 after 8 ends. Gary and Martin 9 on the 9. Just got a comfort break there. Jack's slightly shorter than previous. Good weight from Rose. Unfortunately, just pinched that line again. Well, between Emily and Catherine, a couple of rinks over, that's gone to a tie break. So Catherine took the second set. Rose is certainly looking interested. I think it's going to pull up a bit short. Another second for them. So Gary does need to give some company to Martin's bowl. Same weight. So over on rink 3. From where I am, I actually thought Catherine was holding, but Emily's sent her 4 and Catherine is bowling it, so she must be down, or thinks she's down. I'll let you know what happens on that one in a sec. Much better from Gary. That's the company he wanted to give it. Well, Catherine was trying to wheel that bowl up. I don't know who, if she got it or not. Yep. I think Catherine got that. She's signalling one up. So that's in our ladies under 25s. Oh, Jason's sticking with his backhand. Good line, but just undercooked it again. It's not helped his cause this time. Uncharacteristic for him to be a bit looser like that. Looks like it's got to be a forehand draw. Yep, lined up for that forehand. Definitely got more weight. Well, played it well, whether we got that or not. So Rose has picked up the mat. So that's going to be 9 shots to 7. And this is going to be a short jack. Well, they're asking how far up, and Jason indicated 2 feet thereabouts, but nobody's picked up, but the back of the mat is on the tee, so that's about, well, not about, a mat is 2 foot. So if it's exactly on the back of the mat is on the tee, then that's a really tight length. A little surprised they didn't look at that a bit more, especially as it's the chosen length for Jason and Rose. Trusty runner from Gary. Oh, played it well. And now it's moved. You can tell where the jack was, which was, it was 2 feet. But was it 1 foot 13 inches, or was it 2 foot 2? Anyway, they played it, so we'll never know whether it was truly up or not. So we've got our cameras down to the back. Got my trusty assistant, Ian Marion. They do test us sometimes, moving the jack around. And we're like a number of the streaming in the UK on a volunteer basis. So hopefully you're enjoying the coverage. Jason's certainly stalking his bolt. Is he going to make it? He's struggling. Ooh. He's still giving Gary room. Just stood up and looked out the window, and standing up it looks like it was clearly the Jason's bowl. Those angles are deceptive on the camera. Camera says it's really close. No, it must be close. They are measuring it. I've just got Josh Brunsell, the umpire, turn around. His bottom lip's quivering. He thought he was going to get a task, but unfortunately not. If it's close, he might still get called on. Well, that was very quick to that blue, so I'm not sure if it was clearly in or clearly not in. So Rose has got the mat, but I don't know if that was 1 or 2. Common complaint from the spectators. It takes a while for the players to let us know what's happening. And he's just marked it on the board. 9-all. So 9-all on 10 ends. So it is a little shorty, but Rose hasn't quite mustered the strength to get up on this one. Martin's drifted by there. Surely that's far enough for Rose this time. Yeah, it would have been jack eye. Touch just took a little bit of weight off, but still in the target area. Little surprised Jason's gone backhand. Looks difficult from here. Unless he was specifically looking to cover at the back. You can sit Martins a wood behind, but the front ones certainly make it more difficult for him. Although that's helped Jason. Not sure if Gary was just trying to promote his own. From here I fancy the forehand draw for Gary. He's lost that option now. Yeah, Martin calling a similar shot down through the gap. So with with Gary turning Jason's up, or Rose's, I think. But anyway, one of their bowls up to make another one. Jason just quite happy to run for the back. Make sure he's got the best back in. Gary's sticking on the same hand. He's cleared the one that was in the way. I'm still not sure if... Well, he's obviously thought... And maybe he's got a slightly different viewpoint than us. But I felt it was a difficult one. He was always going to get wrecked or clip things. Looks like he's just trying to sort of land the two of the shot woods and stay there. Well, he seemed clear when he left the head, but he's now asking all sorts of questions. Bit of indecision there. When he left the head, he seemed to be indicating essentially a draw. Yeah, so that's what he called when he left the head. So you feel Gary would just play a lot more through it. Fully commit to the shot. Yeah, I think they're fairly well split, so it won't be any worse than a couple wherever it goes. Will he get down with that? Oof. I mean, he was never going to play zone out. I know it was close to it, but if he was tight enough to get that, he would have caught the front stuff. Double take from Martin. Initially, yeah, it's in, and then think about it. Right, Jason's just taken one away that is definitely not in, so two conceded so far. And three after the measure. So it's now 9-12. Jason and Rose 12 on the 12, and that's after 11 ends played. So Jason's asked for the short one as before. A little bit unlucky from Gary. Possibly a fraction over the weight. I mean, there was things going for him, but I fancy he was just trying to sit the shot wood rather than play it through. But unfortunately, he flicked the jack the wrong way. But at least he's side by side now, so he can still play with a foot. If he gets it towards his own, it's all good. So that's more than he was intending. Line-wise, he's near enough on their own bowl that was that's just behind. So if you feel like he was only playing a tiny amount of weight, just for the little trail. So Martin's called that. Just sit the wood or jack. Doesn't need much on it though. Oof. Again, that's slightly in between weights. Not the really committed just a draw, or a bit more weight to make sure you get one or the other. He was in the target area, a little bit unlucky. He's just past the two blues, so he does have best back. But just that in-between weight again. You feel if he was just overdrawing, if he touched anything, he stayed thereabouts. Tickled it, made two. That sort of weight, he wasn't going to stay. He was going to play a wood and probably drift away. Still be one down. If he got the jack, depends exactly which way he played it. So Rose and Jason are just pulling away on these shorter ones. Now 14 to 9 after 12 ends. Not been loads of very tight woods, but certainly doing enough. So definitely room. Martin's best one this end. Back touch it. Well done, Martin. Fraction of landers costs Gary quite, I say quite dearly, that's probably too much of an exaggeration, but he's not quite as close as he would like to be, but also by clipping that jack he's just given Jason a bit more visibility of it. Slightly easier, still difficult, but slightly easier. So I suppose technically that's slightly less difficult. Well, a bit fortunate there. He was still tight and carrying a bit that time. Could have just easily got the jack. Well, Jason's stalking it for the last few inches of weight. Rose congratulating him on that one, so he's probably got it. So once again, Jason had made up his mind, gone to the mat, changed his mind. Covered right at the back. Not sure Gary's going to play with that weight. I think he's either dead drawing it or just arriving with a foot or so. Is he going to stick around? Let's turn it up to his own made one. So at least they get to change the length, which they've been struggling with a little bit. So score is now Martin and Gary 10, Rose and Jason 14. That's after 13 ends. And that's enough from Rose. I'm looking jealously out the window. Umpire Josh been here a few hours, so he's got a snack on the go. Looks like a hot cross bun. Sure, he's just trying to make us jealous. He's doing a good job. I know he was here with our specials this morning, so he wouldn't have been home. Probably been here for a good few hours. Quick chat from Gary and Martin. Not quite sure what that signal was. Seemed to be forehand, but I'm not sure if it was forehand draw or forehand run to try and open it. was trying to open it, I think, but he's landed the ball perfect and stayed in there. On this angle, can't tell if he's 1 or 2 down still. And getting the same blank look from my neighbour as I'm giving. So we'll call that, we're not sure. We're both sure that one's in. Well, he's moved it, giving himself more room. Martin wiping the chalk off. Gary had left it on from last time. We all do it. I know some players who forget about it a lot. I don't know if it's just because they don't get very many and therefore they don't have to wipe it off very often. Little over again from Gary. Didn't manage to take the weight off there. I'll play Jason. So Gary having a pop at this, and he's got it really well. We'll move those camera around for you. There you go. Not much room for Jason there. That weight was a bit more committed from Gary. Not quite as delicate as some of the other ones have been, which he's just not quite got the results on. Good effort from Jason. He had nothing to lose. He already had second, so he could afford to go for a shot. Didn't matter whether he lost the bowl or not. Sometimes if you're a few down in that situation, you're a bit more cautious. So we've played 14 ends, in theory 2/3 of the way through, and it's Martin and Gary 11, Rose and Jason 14. It's going to be really tight whether they get those ends in. If they carry on at the current speed, they will. But if it gets really tight towards the end, you feel that just a few more visits here and there. I think that might be the difference between that playing that last end or not. Well played, Rose there. Holding another 2. One waiting. She's been setting up Jason pretty well. I think she's had the edge on Martin today. Well, that was a super bowl from Gary. Under a bit of pressure there. Last bowl. Jason's going to be looking for that. Caught the front stuff. So just keeping themselves in the game. It's now 14-12 to Rose and Jason. Martin's just put that slightly shorter than has been. A bit further up the green. Good try there, Rose. Well, I said Rose had the edge on Martin so far, but I think Martin's certainly pipped that end. Good place from Gary. Bit far to count, but useful. Well, a bit tight there from Jason, so no result. But he showed his intent. Gary does have the best back, but it's still 2-3 yards away from the tee. I wondered if he's drawing in, but I wondered if he was more likely to try and cover the ones on the left. Oh, he's actually squeezed through, maybe covering them a bit. Now Gary's is in between them. He's given him a slight bit of safety. So if he can draw to that last one, that'll be a really good home. Well, flicked one and moved away. Not sure how many that's left Gary and Martin with. Left them with 3, 15, 14 on 16 ends. So do they stick with that slightly shorter one, or do they go where they were earlier on? So they have gone slightly, I'd say a fraction longer, but still not anywhere near as long as they were doing earlier on. Forced Rose to change. Still couldn't quite nail it. Both skips will be thinking to themselves, that's for me to do it. I've got room. Jason's possibly slightly got better position. If he does move it even a few inches, a foot, 18 inches, if he's too heavy, 2 foot, he's good. That'll be probably why Gary's coming on the backhand, trying to sit inside the back ones. Weight's perfect for the job. Jason also going backhand, slightly surprised with that. Forehand he's got 2 to sit on if he's anything over, or the jack. Obviously he's capable of drawing it and that's all he's after. Forehand just gives you that extra margin of error if you're just over. Bit unlucky for Gary to play and sit away. So Jason's played it the forehand this time. So he's are they confident that Jason will get in? Or do they think they can put him under some pressure? Turn the bowl away. You make 4, 3 or 4 if you stay. But you'd always expect Jason to get inside that. However, as we've just seen, neither of them have. So if you're not so confident about dead drawing it, it might be worth a little dig at the wood. Well, he's tried to draw it. Bit tight. Ends up with nothing. So 1 to Jason, 1 to come. I'm still trying to work out, was he trying to play that jack for 3? I'm slightly confused there. He might have been trying to play for the jack for 3. I thought he was already holding and this was a draw for 2. Because he's turned Gary's wood 18 inches, so he probably had 4 or 5 feet of weight. So he definitely wasn't drawing it, and he was definitely under the line, so he was committed with going underneath it. Well, 1 to Gary and Martin. I'm not sure if he pushed his wood away to bring that in, or if it was already in. Even knowing the angles aren't always perfect, certainly when it's a bit shorter like that, still a little bit surprised. And a good start. So pinched a 1 there for Gary and Martin, puts them 16-14 up. 17 ends. In theory, 4 ends left. Got about 35 minutes left. Just drifted through a yard, but another useful home for Martin. Normally your skip's happy, 1 arm, 1 behind. Obviously 3 arm, 1 behind is even better, but that's coming from the skip. Rose just got punished a bit, just a bit under the line. Turn up Martin's, so not only are the woods in, but hers is a bit in the way. If Jason plays a runner, he could still easily get to the jack, but once he starts to get underneath the jack, he's the front ones are getting his way. Probably expect him to draw it. So Gary first, looks on a good line. They come a long way at the end. Well, that's finished really well. So I think Rose was encouraging him to reach. Well, perfect result. Played it well, but result could not have been any better. Not even an inch for Gary to get into. So Martin showing lifting up a wood on the forehand. I actually wonder if he's got more chance, a bigger gap on the backhand. The very front one's a little bit to the right, but there's more of a gap between that one and Martin's closest, so you feel he might be able to turn that one up. Doesn't matter what I say, he's playing the forehand. Drifted round in the ditch. So if Jason, as long as he gets good line, he won't create an extra rest or a target, something just to land off. Yes, it would be nice to get one in, but I think the line's really important on this one. Finishing a good home. Nothing for Gary to use. Gary looks like he's going to play a lot more weight to open it up, give himself a chance. He's got another one afterwards. Because Jason is touching. If Gary does rattle the pack, it just takes a touch on that shot wood. Gary has gone backhand this time. So that's my call for the last one. Looks like with that weight, he could have got between the two reds. Contact on his one just in front might have helped, or might be able to get the shot wood clean with that weight. Oh, another brick in the wall at the front. Wonder if Gary's going to look for the same and trust the luck. Well, with his foot he showed the backhand and he waved at the forehand. So I'm going with a forehand shot. What sort of weight? I think he's arriving with that. Still going to get, like the first shot, looking to get hold of Martins. Well, a little bit tight. Got a good result to make. It's giving Jason less room. Well, he didn't have much to get into. Quick discussion from Jason and Rose. Didn't catch all of that, but I do think Jason essentially said either go really short again or really long. So I think it's one or the other. Yep, it's gone really long. So it's just a mat up and right on the tee. So it's certainly kept it a tight game. 1 to Rose and Jason there, which puts them on 15 against Martin and Gary 16. 3 ends left, subject to time. I think they'll get it in. They'll at least start their last end, so they'll get it in. Really good effort from Martin. As you can see, the jack has moved off the tee, so it's probably only a yard off the ditch now. So to be fair to Rose, Jason said go short or really long. Well, she put it long and made it even longer by moving it. Finished really well from Rose. I think Jason was a bit nervous. She was just going to clip the jack. Needn't have worried. That looks like more than draw weight. Slightly unlucky contact there, but took one away. Means it's a little bit more open for Gary. So cracking bowl by Jason. Very slightly unlucky that he sat alongside it. Just giving Gary a bit of a view. Looks on the wide side. Well, it depends. Easy to say. Just one or the other, weight or line. If he was making sure he was there to be into it, wide, but near enough from the draw line. Does look inviting to be up to it. You feel if he's going to play it, he needs to decide and commit a bit more weight. That one looks closer. Yep, played it well. Fraction unlucky. If it gone left or right, he was okay. Dead square like it did, not so good. But good shot, Gary. Certainly reduced it. Not much room for Jason to get another one in. But he needs that bit of company for the woods. Just dropped in the ditch. Rose picking it up. Looks like Gary was after that little squeeze. Definitely worthwhile. Ooh, couldn't get down again. Or did get down, but a bit over the weight again. Feels like a similar idea for Gary. Little squeeze. Doesn't want to be too heavy. So 1 to Rose and Jason, tightens it all up. 16 all after 19 ends. So I make it they've got about 15 minutes left thereabouts. So 10 minutes an end. They're going to get this end and be into the next one. So well, it doesn't matter how many your opposition gets. You'll have last bowl and you've got the chance of scoring the same or another one for the game. So it's still all to play for in the last 2 ends. So Jason calling that for a long jack again, right on the tee. Martin pulled one out the bag there. So as I said, 2 ends left, and this is the open pairs final for in Guernsey. Winner of this will be playing Jersey in few weeks time. Got British Isles Championships first, but when we get back from that, Won't be far away before we have our Inter-Insular. So our annual challenge match against Jersey, and also the knockouts, which is pairs, triples, fours, mixed pairs. So we'll be looking forward to those, and the winner of this one will definitely be looking forward to that as well. Looks like Jason's still got it all to play for. Taking his time with the shot. Done that a few times. Made up his mind to go back to the mat. Pause. Ask a good few questions. Quite often go back to the original shot, which will be a backhand runner. Oh, he's played that well. Just move that camera down for you a bit. So you can see us right on the edge of the ditch, but he's holding. Room for Gary. Obviously ideal not to lose it. Oh, even better if you can get a toucher. Maybe a fraction fortunate because he was overweight. And you can just see the marker on the bank, so it's only maybe a foot in from the marker, maybe 18 inches. Well, Jason's liking it. No toucher. For such a good wood, almost deserved a toucher when it's that close to the line and also that close to the ditch. Nothing to play with. Almost feel like Gary's going to play for that. If he gets it in a ditch, that's 2 shots, and they won't really be beatable. Play the wood away. He's got it away. He's down through it. Not big weight, but big enough. Oh, absolutely got the wood. Ever so slightly unlucky that the jack. Sorry, got the jack, but the jack landed on his own bowl and then went to the other side to where his toucher has just finished. So it's, from this angle, he might only be 1. The one on the when you're measuring, you do have to go down into the ditch a little bit. Our ditches are not that deep, but the tape measure would have to go around the edge of the ditch. Yeah, just a draw from Gary. Doesn't matter whether he's holding 1 or 2. I say just a draw. He didn't play what I expected. But with a cough shot drawn to the edge of the ditch. Gives a wave to say not quite what I intended to play. Gary's always very fair. Obviously he's still going to take it though. I think that was quite clearly the one on the green that was in. So 2 to Martin and Gary. Sure, Martin will go a little bit shorter. So 18-16, last end. So they've started, they'll finish. Well, Rose picked it up when you need shot. She was a foot or so behind, so it was a good wood whatever, but she got it clean. Just lost that one in the ditch. Fraction unlucky from Rose. Carrying a bit of weight, but you'd have thought, sit on the back of your own, you're relatively safe. But just nudging the jack puts a bit of distance between her own at the front and the stuff behind. Looks like it's tempting Martin. That looks like he's playing down to that. Well, giving Gary more room. So Gary just drifted a bit through. There you go, showing you from the other side. Thanks to my co-pilot. You can just see Martin's got one at the back right by his own foot. Well, next one back is Rose's. And then that one from Gary about a yard from the ditch. Well, that just makes it more awkward for Gary to draw it. I think on the forehand he's got a slightly bigger swing, so he'll get around that. Yeah, looks like he's elected for the draw on the forehand. Just that same weight. The dance we always do around the head. Rose having a look to see who was holding. I'll say who was holding, but which is the closest one to beat. Well, for me that's 4. Let's put Gary under pressure. Normally you'd say carry on drawing. With 4 you'd expect to be within 18 inches. But maybe he's not that comfortable. If he does play that backhand run, if he gets a jack, it's game over. If he takes 1 or 2 out, it gives himself a chance. It's not a risk-free shot. If he's really confident with his runners, then he's going to go for it. So you can see they're sort of side by side, so they do make a bit of a target. Yep, he's gone for that backhand runner. Well, that's an important point, so another quick discussion. And from here you can see why Gary's tempted with that that runner. Just always feel he would draw that. But when it gets down to the really tricky end of the game, the business end, it does make you consider what you're doing. I presume the closest red beats the closest blue bowl from Martin. So I presume it's 3. That's lining up for the forehand, so he's going back to that draw. He just played a runner, so is he going to be comfortable with that weight? It's drifted by. Jason's coming up to have a good look. And it's been conceded, so 3 shots. So when Gary was playing that runner, I thought he was committed, but he went back to the draw. Almost got it. So Jason Greenstade and Rose Ojat win 19-18. So they'll be playing against Jersey in a few weeks' time. That'll be us for today. We'll be back tomorrow, tomorrow afternoon, and for more finals. I'm not sure which one it's going to be. Depends which one ends up on the TV rink. But hope you tune in, and see you tomorrow.